Hi, everybody. I'm Jen Plessis. I am a speaker, author, coach, podcaster of two podcasts, Mortgage Lending Mastery and Success to Significance, Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. And most importantly, I'm a glamma. Join us on the Jessie T Show.
The mighty and powerful Jen Duplessis. What is up, sister?
Hey there. It's so good to see you again. We just saw each other last week.
I feel like
How
we did this
exciting.
just a couple days ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
This time
exciting.
you're on this show. Last week I was on yours, and it was a great conversation. And just want to be able to highlight you and what you're doing. So if you could just give us a little context on who you are, what you do, and what brought you to today.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for asking. My story all begins with Jenny who ain't got a penny, and we'll talk about that today. That's really what my story is all about. But my mission is to help people live their legacy while they're building their legacy, to really enjoy life while they're so ingrained in taking care of their business and really create a beautiful life around or a business around their life rather than the life around their business, which is so often the case. So that's really what I'm all about, is just sharing that, because I've been so blessed to be able to have that life myself, but it wasn't always that way.
Let's go back to Jenny, who didn't have a penny. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So, my father, John, was an alcoholic. My mother, Ginger, was a verbal abuser. And I had an uncle who I loved, which by the way, today, as we're recording this, it's his birthday. It's his 88th birthday. So we do still have a good relationship, but he told me one day, Jenny, you're not going to be worth anything. You're going to be just like your parents. You're going to be poor. You're going to be an alcoholic, you're going to smoke, you're going to be a verbal abuser, all of those words. And, all of us cousins, I'm one of 36, and all of us cousins had these nicknames. Mine just happened to be Jenny who ain't got a penny. And really, for me, I didn't think much of it. I carried a penny around in my shoe to show him that I had a penny because I thought it was a joke. And I was getting attention. So that was great because I wasn't getting it from my parents. And, but I had a very pinnacle day one time when my father had a gun to my mother's head. I walked into the house. I heard the fighting. I could see through as I walked through that she was sitting there with her cigarette in her hand and her bathrobe, and she was heavy set and shaking. And I just didn't want to hear it. And so I ran out. I didn't know what else to do. And I ran into the cornfield of my grandparents' home next door. And in that moment, I said, things have to change. It just has to change. So the rest of my life was a life of proving. I was going to prove to everybody I wasn't going to be that. And I excelled in everything possible to prove that I wasn't going to be that. And then one day I decided it was enough. And we can talk about that in a moment. But that's what really propelled me. And that was the pinnacle moment that Jenny, who ain't got a penny, was going to prove that I could have pennies, that I could be better than what my parents were going to be or were at that time.
This is it's powerful because it gave you a foundation on which to build from in a place of scarcity, in a place of abuse, a place of trauma. You were able to take that, what was a negative comment saying Jenny without a penny, get some, attention at the very least, maybe that you weren't getting in the home front, and kind of try to turn it into a playful thing. But obviously it put a chip on your shoulder. Obviously it was, I'll show you. I will build this beautiful life. I will not be Jenny without a penny. I'll have all the pennies and then do something good with it. And so, when was that knowing for you? Like, when did you make that decision early on in your life? And then was it through school and sports and career? Like, how did you start weaving that into your life?
Yeah. Well, I was about 9 when this happened. I was about 9 years old. It's funny. I was giggling about a couple of things, and I want to answer your question, but I was giggling about a couple of things because you had said, I'm going to show you, and that's the name of my new television show and a book that I'm writing called Tell Me I Can't, and I'll show you how I can. Right. And it's just called Tell Me I Can. So it really did become a sort of my life mission of, that's okay. You can tell me I can't, because I've learned how to show you something different. And we're going to explore that on the TV show and in the book and stuff. The other thing is, we all know the stories. We've all read them in some type of book or heard them somewhere of, the two brothers that had had, the same $1,000 and what they did with their money. It's the same thing in my family. My brother is 12 and a half years my junior. They just didn't have kids in between. And his path with the same background, completely different than my path. Completely. His is not good. And for me, I think as a daughter of an alcoholic, one of the things that people will understand who are around alcoholism is that we always think it's our fault. And so if I can be perfect, if I can clean the house perfect, if I can speak perfectly, if I can look perfect, if I can do everything perfect, maybe he won't drink.